I remember standing up first, and my mom stood up across from me and with my dad, and she said, "There's nothing you can do that would ever make me love you any less." My name's Cody McCullough, and I was raised in a Christian home, heavily involved in everything that entails growing up. Youth group, later on college and career group. And so at school I was this loud, crazy, fun-loving guy who did everything there was to do, in every sense of that word. And then at church I was this crazy, fun-loving guy who loved the Lord. Then when I went to college, I ran about as far away from that as you can go. So I had one of my best friends at one point in the beginning of my the beginning of my third year in college. He was like, "Hey man, have you ever done cocaine?" And at this point I was drinking pretty heavily. I joined a fraternity, and so that was just what you did, and in that moment I remember thinking, if I say no, he will think that I'm judging him, and so I have to say yes. And then it got really dark. I was using $300 or $400 worth of cocaine a week. I remember it getting to a place where I would sleep just a couple hours a night, if that. I remember one night in particular, and I went to buy some more. I had, I think, $200 in my pocket. And the guy that we were buying from was paranoid that we were cops, and there were these 3 guys there and these 2 women, and the women were slaves to the drug. I remember my eyes opening at that point to, this is not what I want to be. I don't want to be anyone involved in this situation. Looking back, and now it was probably me looking through Jesus's eyes. Even though I was as far away from him as I could be. I decided at that moment that I would quit, but not that night. I would quit on graduation day. And so about a month later, graduation day came, and I got really high and was sober the next day. Kind of realized who I wanted to be, and really started digging into that in my own life, and at one point ran back to Jesus and my relationship there. And a couple years went by, and I had totally felt like I had been forgiven and totally felt cleaned of all of this, except that I hadn't told my family, my mom and dad, the life that I had lived all through college. I set up a meeting with them. I went to their house. I sat down and I said, hey, I just have to tell you this because I'm tired of having secrets from you. And I just told him, hey, I was a heavy coke user for a long time. I'm not anymore, but I really kind of screwed myself up for a while. And then I stood up first because I was, to be honest, headed for the door. I remember packing my car that day because I had convinced myself that I was going to have this conversation, I was going to spill my beans, and then I was going to leave and never see my parents again. My mom stood up across from me and with my dad, and she said, "There's nothing you can do that would ever make me love you any less." And it's really a testament to grace in a way that I had never seen before, and just an unconditional love that I don't understand, but I, on the receiving end, know that it's more than I ever expected. It was the moment that grace became real. You read about it. I had read about it since I was able to read, but that was the moment that I understood what unconditional love, what grace, what forgiveness really are.